it's a real challenge in terms of bonding a group of players together and creating that teamwork. I think one of the things that we did right from the start was created committees, so every player is on a different committee, whether it's on a social committee or entertainments committee or music committee. There's a fines committee, there's a WAGs committee, tourist committee in terms of destination and where they're going. So every player feels like that they're a part of a smaller group and reporting back to the wider group and sort of creating that, almost like being a part of it. And that's really important for sort of bringing a group together, and that there's different responsibilities on tour, and you have a report back sort of once a week, and they meet about that, and we've found that definitely helps with the bonding. Guys doing things on their own, it's really important that the players get on socially. There's always a bit of fun in the bus with the players on the way back from training. They have joke of the day, information of the day. So there's always a little bit of fun and a bit of singing as well. So players trying to keep it entertained, and because that's paramount on tour when you're away for 4 or 5 weeks, that you keep the environment sort of ticking over, but also creating a culture where the guys also enjoying themselves. Bringing a group of players together and getting them to mould together, so players first of all rooming with people that they don't know, players from other countries, getting them then to contribute in team meetings and to feel confident about talking in front of the group. Those sorts of things are small, and we've gone out at different times and what we call mini meals, so 8 or 10 guys going out together and sitting around the table and conversing and doing those sorts of things, and trying to get players, just encouraging like sitting at different tables and not sitting with people just from your own country or your own team that you know well, and making sure that they mix and mingle to get to know each other as quickly as they possibly can, because that definitely makes a difference. We haven't really used too much team bonding exercises on this tour, because it's just the time's been so short. But get the boys going out and having a bit of a night out and having a meal and having sometimes a couple of drinks together is the easiest way to, because they start to relax a little bit and to talk, and when you go away on a tour, that's sometimes the quickest way to establish a bit of bonding and things. But guys, on their days off, a number of them have gone to the movies. They've done a few sort of extra things outside of the camp, even though we haven't had many days off apart from travelling. So, in the past, in different teams, you have used bonding exercises or team building exercises, but it hasn't sort of been so easy to do this on this tour. I think we've told them that just because you're at the midweek team, it doesn't mean that you're not still going to be considered for test selection. And I think that particularly after the Chiefs game, we picked a couple of players from the midweek team to be involved in the first test, and so that kind of keeps you motivated to know that, hey, if I go out there and I play well and the team plays well, that's really important. They create a little special bond of their own as well, and they they've been joking that they're the team of Rory Best. So, and you kind of got to embrace that as well. That some of them feel like, okay, for whatever reason, I may not be involved in the test team, but going out and playing in a Lions jersey and performing well is still really, really important. It's important for myself individually, for the team, and collectively as a whole, and hopefully helps prepare the test team for the Saturday as well. So they've been brilliant, that group of players, in terms of they've had limited preparation time compared to the team that's been playing on the Saturday. They've had to front up after they've played a couple of days, which would normally be a recovery day or a rest day for them, and train against the team that's been preparing for Saturday. And it's been fantastic the way that they've kept themselves motivated and kept part of the squad, and haven't let things get to them, or been too disappointed about not being selected. So we've been very, very lucky as a group or as a coaching team to see how good those group of men have been, but also they've been brilliantly led by Rory Best as well. Yeah, the new guys that came in, it's always a challenge, and you talk to the players that are there, and the players have been around for a while, just to, part of their job is to ensure that the guys coming in, it's seamless, and it was great to see that some of the more senior players or experienced players, sat around on the computers with those players and helped them learn the calls and learnt the moves, and sitting next to them at lunch or dinner and whatever, just kind of making them feel a part of it, and that's we stress that, how important that the group of guys coming in, were there to do a job for us, but also to make them feel as welcome and as part of it as much as possible, and the players took that responsibility on brilliantly and really included them and made them feel pretty special. Yeah, I think in terms of when you're dealing with players, you've got to understand. Sometimes you're still learning about players, but what makes them tick. So it's like everything. Some people need an arm around them just to console them. Some of them need to kick up the backside, and some of them you need to be really direct with them and just say, look, that wasn't good enough, and you could have done better. Some players like to be direct with them, to be really honest. Others you've got to just be a little bit careful how you approach it. You're not too aggressive, not too straight up, and allow them to sometimes come to the conclusions themselves. And so it takes a bit of time and learning that. Like I said, a few players that you can go to them straight after a game, or straight away, and just talk to them about the performance and either what was good or what was bad. And others you might need to wait 24 hours that they reflect on their performance and have had a look at it before you challenge them on a few things. So it's just kind of understanding the individuals and the mindset, and ultimately what makes people tick, because everyone's a little bit different and everyone has to be treated in the same way but potentially differently too. Ironically, sometimes conflict's not the worst thing to have in a team, because it means there's two things. Is that if there's a difference of opinion or a conflict, then and that rises to the surface, well, firstly, it's something that needs to be sorted, and from a conflict point of view, it sometimes shows that people care about what they're doing, they're motivated, they're challenged. So I don't always see conflict as the worst thing in a team environment, because people are so motivated and passionate that sometimes conflict does come to the surface, and if it does, then that can be a positive in terms of how you deal with it, how you address it. If you've got an issue, okay, then let's talk about it. Let's find a solution. Let's find an answer. Let's find some common ground. And then once the conflict, once that's been addressed, then hopefully you get it. That conflict or something doesn't arise in the future. But it's not always the worst thing to have. It means, like I said, it means that sometimes people are pretty passionate about what they're trying to achieve. Probably the person who keeps me motivated is their head of strength and conditioning, Paul Stridgen. He's an energizer, someone who comes into your team room every day with a smile on his face, or a bit of banter or a joke or something like that. So, and if you're feeling a little bit sorry for yourself because either the performance hasn't been good enough or the day hasn't been brilliant, he definitely picks you up. And I think the relationship with the other coaches as well, sometimes you get away from it. There's nothing wrong with having a bit of banter in a group, and because you're in a job that it's pressured, and you're under pressure at times, but you've got to enjoy it, and you've got to have some fun. You've got to put a smile on your face, because unless you do that, it has the potential to get to you, and you've got to be in a role where you enjoy it, and hopefully other people can inspire you.